Alrighty then. No kidding. Low internet. Stop the camera. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus episode 270. Holy cow. Losing the spark. That's where your creativity seems to be gone, your inspiration, your desire to keep churning away. And I'll tell you, that happens to almost all people, especially over a long series of time, because successes will ebb and flow. You're not going to have a continually rising level of success and greater levels of joy, because the better you do, your mind starts to change to wanting to see even better next time. And I always talk about plateaus. As you climb the ladder of success there, you raise your expectations. Even if you're trying not to, you still will. And with those expectations, you're challenging yourself and actually putting a lot more pressure on you with each new release, with each new story. And especially if you try a new genre, those readers don't know you, and you may not get as much traction as you thought you'd have or expected to get. And all of a sudden it just all weighs on you, and the spark is gone, or it feels like it's gone. And let me quote a Rush song called "Losing It" from Neil Peart. 30 years ago, how the words would flow with passion and precision, but now his mind is dark and dulled by sickness and indecision. You can feel it. You're there. You're writing, and you don't want to churn, because a lot of times you have the inspiration for a great scene, and then you have the inspiration for a next great scene, and tying them together, you've got some yeoman's work, some blue collar words to churn out and tie the two together. It's the knot between the pearls. The sexy part isn't the knot, it's the pearls themselves, but you've got to tie them together. Otherwise, you don't have a necklace. This is your story. And sometimes you don't even have that inspiration. Well, I don't even know what the next scene is going to look like. So how can I write that bridge between the two scenes? Because there is no next scene. You need to refill the well. And what does it take to refill the well? For some people, it's abject failure. They drop down and down and say, oh my God, and desperation. And then they're churning and more pressure and intensity. And I don't know what to tell you. If you're heading down that slope and going faster and faster towards the depths of despair, all I can say is probably change your situation, change your scenario, change your scenery, change how you see the world. Some things you can do. Hey, go volunteer at a soup kitchen, see what it looks like down at the bottom, and help your fellow person, your fellow humans while doing it. Little voluntary work goes a long ways. And for me, that voluntary work is all with authors. It's not because I have to be the biggest and the best author. I'm not. But I can help other people, and there are incredibly gifted folks out there who deserve that chance to go ahead. And so, yes, I can give them all the help I can give them, and that keeps me refreshed. Explore a different story, and this is what I use short stories for. I have something like 30 or 40 short stories and anthologies around the world, and with a number of different publishers. And actually, I've got a short story that's going to be in a Baen anthology coming out this fall, later, almost early winter. A completely different style, a different genre, kind of. It's still science fiction. And it was a relief to write that story, get some feedback, adjust, turn it back in, get it accepted, and there. Rejuvenation. Since I wrote that story, my word count has gone way up. I finished a book, finished 2 books, and halfway there on another book. So it's going well, that rejuvenation of exploring a different story, because if you're a storyteller at heart, you're always going to rely on that and come back to that no matter what else is going on in your life. Here's another red flag. Are you stopping too often mid-story because you think you're losing inspiration? And what I would suggest then is plot the holy hell out of a story all the way from start to finish. Even if you're a pantser, I'm a discovery writer. If you're stopping mid-story, you're not a discovery anything. You're discovering that you only have the initial idea for a story and not an entire story in mind. If you plot through, write that first chapter, write that last chapter, tell the whole story. Then you'll see that, it is inspiration, but it's also perspiration. And that's why the next line is plod. Plod along, 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. As an author, I think those values are a little bit different. I think there's a lot of inspiration that goes into it, but there's also a lot of blue collar work, just jamming the words, reading to improve your prose, studying your craft, learning the business side of it. So that's why it's important to also write when you're not inspired. And you'll find that your subconscious is in play while you're creating. And this is where you'll find that you'll create some cool things. You'll have some great phraseology that you'll think you wrote when you weren't inspired, and it's inspired prose. That is a great thing to see. So refill the well any way you can, change your circumstances, change your scenery to get a different look, write a different kind of story to then come back to where your meat and potatoes are, where the majority of your strengths lie. And then rock and roll. All right. Understand that you are going to have ebbs and flows, and keep pushing forward. Because if you're a storyteller, and you know you are, because you're here as an author, you're listening to this, me drone on about this. If you're an author, you'll always come back to that. You'll always want to write a story. You'll always want to tell a story. All right, everybody. Peace, fellow humans.